Hey guys, and I would like to welcome all of you to what is a very new, invigorated, and inspired style of video. We are going to do things very, very differently from now on, ladies and gentlemen, because this is going to sort of like be the very beginning of what I like to call these sort of commentary type videos. Because usually when I go through YouTube, there's like certain channels I really, really want to like find out. Some of them, however, are so heavily in depth in like context. It's like jumping into like a serial drama at the 15th episode. You're going to have to like start from the beginning just to work your way there, and it's just sort of like to get like a proper feel for things. And also, in case you're wondering why I'm wearing the Daily Dose shirt, I just straight up like didn't bother to change it. So that's actually my only excuse at this point. So hopefully this will not be too distracting, I suppose. Hopefully the money's going to a nice place. That's all I can say for that. Now, on to the matter at hand. Now listen, anytime there is a difficult situation at hand, something that needs to be discussed, something that needs to be like dissected, peeled, examined under like a microscope, anytime there's a situation where that sort of like very methodical scientific process to things has to go ahead, then guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Anything that sort of like throws things off balance and we have to sort of like discuss why it is, there needs to be people out there who are able to put things into perspective and put things right. They call me a guy you've probably never heard of before until this, unless you kind of like went, ooh, what's this guy talking about? And just decided to click that button. And don't worry, I'm not going to ask for you guys to like or subscribe or anything. I think personally, I can see why, but it's not really for me. That sort of thing is just like, I don't know, just a little bit not really the sort of thing I do. I prefer to just like do things and just see what the response is. Yada yada yada. I'm getting sidetracked already. I am so sorry. I joke, of course, ladies and gentlemen. That is obviously not me. I am no Superman, as they say. Though, with that being said, however, not all heroes wear capes. Some of them wear t-shirts with some popular YouTube channel on them. Anyway, not all, like I said, not all heroes wear capes or get three-part film trilogies, or Snyder cuts, as they were. More like Snyder cuts, or snide cuts, if you ask me. Please laugh at my jokes. I sometimes I do this and I've got no neck left. Please, I need the money. Oh dear. I know, if this sort of thing is not for you, then I'm afraid that what might happen over the next 30 or so minutes might not get any better, for more reasons than one. Now, speaking of cuts, the video in question for today actually comes from the YouTube channel Cut. For the most part, they post videos entitled Gay Blind Date Gets Wild / Fear Pong.
Sorry. Oh, okay. Oh! Stressed out. For like, I used to fuck girls and now I fuck guys.
Or how about, how can cis people be good accomplices?
Backboning. Allow trans people to be whoever we want to be. And instead of completely retreating, support us. Be the backbone.
In one word, how can cis people be more accomplices to the cause?
Vocal, like being vocal, where somebody else has misgendered you.
If you really, really think that, you know, you have to put that question forward as though there was some kind of like aliens in that, we need to just like learn to just get along. We should be learning how to work together, not fight each other. And I hardly see it sometimes why, if videos like these do any good apart from entertain, which I suppose so, but there could be people, of course, saying that, you know, they feel undermined by the whole process. And I can understand exactly why. There are plenty things I see from now and then that sort of like, I feel like undermine my intelligence, or perhaps it's the intelligence of you guys at home. These sort of things happen, and, well, I kind of like sort of wanted to work out exactly why that is, and why channels like Cut and Jubilee, they sort of like thrive on this sort of, what's like the word? Confrontational divisive sort of approach. Now listen, guys, I'll get round to those sort of videos presently because this sort of video wants to like highlight a problem I do have with this channel, which we are going to get into right now, but I'll make sure to get round to some of those because, well, maybe it would work better if I sort of like went from video to video. The issue with that is that sometimes there may be nothing to discuss, but maybe there might be something to talk about. I'm not entirely sure. The video we're going to take a look at today is one video that has not been too well received, to put it lightly. The video itself is entitled 7 Strangers Decide Who Wins $1,000. And the video starts like this.
Do you guys know why you're here?
No.
I can't because there was money involved.
I know it's all like give me that money. I just want y'all to make the ones rain so I can dance. I don't know, you can't put a price on attention.
We'll come back to this, but you could probably hazard a guess that they wouldn't come here for any other reason, as will be proven in only a few moments. So here are the rules, just so we can get this part out of the way. Well, actually, I'll tell you what, let's discuss what happens before the rules are announced. It gives us a chance to introduce who are our contestants, as they were. This is a good idea, you know, in many ways, because since you really do only get one chance on this earth to make a first impression, good or bad or indifferent, and the opportunity to see who from the onset, who...
There's 7 of you here. You have to decide who leaves with $1,000.
Oh. That's it? That's it? That's the end of it?
You guys have to decide together who's the one person that
But
leaves.
guys, here's the thing. We could each leave with like $150.
No, I'm good. Give me the whole bag.
Choice words, perhaps? You're gonna hear that phrase quite often, you know, choice words, a lot in this video. So, out of the 7 people, they have to decide who will be the one to leave with $1,000.
Here are the rules. We are going to break it down by rounds. The first 4, you have to decide which person gets voted off. Okay? And then for the final 3 people, you have to unanimously decide who's the one person who leaves with it.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I would have been cool with the split option myself, honestly, if I was taking part. Since just to prevent, you know, the Rain woman, Shakira, I think she was called, here from spoiling herself. Although, in a few, again, like I said, very shortly, spoiling, I'm not entirely sure is the correct for a turn of phrase. The correct adjective, I think, but it's, well, you'll see what I mean shortly. So, the team have to cast votes at the end of time allotted rounds, so they can decide on who they want to eliminate from the game, followed by another ooh, until there is only one winner and leaves with the $1,000. A bit like the weakest link, only slightly more sinister. Doom, 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 doom. So, you guys ready? Round 1 is beginning, and let the carnage commence. Right from the word go, we get hit with this.
So, you guys ready?
Yes.
All right, in 3, 2, 1, round 1 is beginning.
So what's everybody's sign?
What does sign have to do with anything? I want to know bank balances. I want to know personal stories.
Negatives? 300.
Personal stories. So I'm black in America, so shit sucks.
Black in America shit sucks. Okay, listen. I cannot in any which way, shape, or form know or begin to know what it is to suffer under goodness knows, to suffer goodness knows what because, you know, prejudice because of the color of my skin. Obviously, since, you know, I'm not black myself, it's always a very concerning start with some of the issues that have been happening in recent years as a result of what is a very cut case examples of racism, discrimination, class warfare, racial hatred, religious intolerance, you know, very complex and deep issues in our society be reduced to simply put, black in America, shit sucks. That shit, no word of a lie, that kind of makes me feel a bit uneasy. Not so much you know, it's going to start my blood to start curling or boiling. It's just, it's arrogance. That's how I would describe it. It's arrogance. And we've only just begun. Bear that in mind because, well, we get hit with this next.
That's why I deserve $1,000.
I'm an immigrant.
So am
So
I.
are we.
Wait, wait. What if everyone who's not black leaves as a form of reparation?
Holy
and then the three of
Hold
us.
on.
Then the rest of the three of us get to decide who takes $1,000.
Love that.
What if we donate the money?
I know who needs to go because you said to charity, so.
He's number one.
I think you gotta go. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's one of those videos, I'm afraid. And just so everyone involved is completely aware in this, if you think I'm calling these people out or cherry picking them and calling them bad because of what they are saying, well, if they wanted me or you perhaps for us to think anything differently of them, then they probably shouldn't be saying the things that they are saying and are going to say later on. More on this later. Because
Give me your pitch. Give me your 30-second pitch why you deserve $1,000.
Cry a little bit.
You are especially vocal.
What do you got?
I spend every single day trying to save the world. I work on issues of climate change. I am a good person. I am a good person.
I'm a good person, she says. What do you guys think of people who say stuff like that? I don't know about you guys, but it should not be down to me to decide whether or not I'm a good person. It's a very pretentious sort of thing to say. It really, really is to say that you are just a good person. Because of what exactly? What makes you a good person? What makes a good person? It's, again, one of those sort of things where, it's very, very difficult to discuss because, well, what criteria do you need to follow? And Hodan probably should think about that when she's, saving the world. Is it like just to enhance her ego or something like that? Remind me how exactly, that's any better than, doing stuff for charity. I mean, she's not wrong, but we still got 18 minutes to go. You're going to find, and I will, some holes in this argument.
I spent my entire day moving today. I've spent over $3,200 in rent this month alone, plus moving costs, bribing people to help me. Liar! No.
I honestly reprimand her by cautioning her, if that she did that again, she would be disqualified if she interrupts someone. Try doing that in the real world, not in this warped reality of society, and see what good that does. They were decent enough to, and mature enough to not interrupt Hodan. It should only be fair that they, respect. Apparently, being a good person doesn't limit you from not being respectful. I guess we're gonna learn. We're gonna go on a little journey of discovery about what makes a good person up.
Okay, here we go. I haven't been working since April. This will be my third surgery within a year since my initial accident. Like, seriously, my bank account's literally like negative $300 right now.
If you're going paycheck to paycheck, where are those paychecks coming from if you're not working?
Hold up. If you got hurt at work,
Where are your workers' comp?
yeah.
That's my paycheck to paycheck. But you only get how much of your income? You only get 60%.
6% of your income
Exactly.
since April. It's now, how you getting workers' comp for 6-7 months?
Like, y'all asking too much questions, but that is the truth.
I'm 19 years old. I'm a full-time student. Money would really freaking help. I just bailed out my parents 10 grand, and that was actually what I was supposed to use for my daughter's college fund. Sorry.
What if we helped you by connecting you to a mentor that we know?
Yeah, I know some people.
And
I mean, if you give a man $1,000, you feed him for a day, but you teach a man to make $1,000, then you feed him for life.
What does it look like I care?
I could make a joke about why Americans need $1,000 just to eat for a whole day. Americans' morbidly obesity population problem, but I'll relent. On the other end of the scale, do these people just give advice to homeless people about this as well? Hey, you want some money? Well, how about we send you off to college? That way you can train to get a job. All it will cost you is whatever time you have left, but you can profit off it in about 10 weeks' time. Also, we're going to have to take away your box, your biddle, and your dog, if you have one. We can't do that. I'm afraid we can't accept people, who don't keep livestock. Yeah, it makes you kind of wonder how these people usually do get on in the outer world.
So at this point, I'm not working as well. So my bills are, my husband was able to pay them, but they're coming up again. And we may end up homeless.
So how long haven't you had a job?
Since September.
We're in October?
Yeah, it's been 30 days.
Dear me. So apparently being a good person doesn't forbade you from being a snob, it would seem. I'll bear that in mind.
But are you choosing to be unemployed because the jobs that are available don't pay you as much money as you want to make?
No, I'm choosing to be unemployed because the jobs I apply for, they tell me I'm not qualified for because I'm black.
I don't see how anyone could say that. That's not legal.
Because you're white.
You probably might have to, hear a lot of that as well, because something tells me that nothing about this video is going to make me feel any happy. This is a no happy sort of video. No, I'm afraid not. Right. Okay, that's it. Now, listen, I can tell you categorically that corporations or any business practices that did that sort of thing could be suspect to being investigated for what is a very blatant violation of civil rights. And plus, there are plenty of organizations that you could reach out to within the United States specifically. The APA, the American Psychological Association, Black Lives Matter, Civil Rights Project.UCLA, the American Civil Liberties Union, Advancement Project, or to the Court of Human Rights. There are plenty of outlets you could go to, many of them that could offer you many great advice if you feel as if you are being segregated from employment simply because of nothing other than your race. I've had the great opportunity to talk to these groups during the production of this video and look at what they do online, and they can go out of the way to help those who suffer under the terrible wickedness of racial prejudice. And I highly encourage any Americans or anyone around the world for that matter. It's just, just to seek justice through the right channels. From minority backgrounds to check those out if you want legal advice from Pontius Prejudice Places of Work. It's called alliteration, ladies and gentlemen. It makes language more colourful. Hooray for GCSE English class. Besides, if you are still as yet convinced that the system does not work, I will leave a link down in this video in particular that shows a news article on fortco.com, which shows losing to battles on the grounds of racial discrimination. I will also say this because there is something in what Chris said that I simply cannot ignore.
Because you're white.
Now, on one hand, I could say that he meant that as in, you don't understand. But at the same time, he could have meant that as in, white people will always get a job over black people just because that is what the corporation wants. To this, I have to say this because, listen, making accusations towards corporations or towards others for racial discrimination is, as some of you guys might suspect, this is a very serious accusation, and indeed, don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen, and unfortunately, you can't just say that it happened unless you have very clear black and white evidence, no pun intended, to prove that this indeed happened. Since in the context of the working environment, corporations would want to present the image that they are incredibly tolerant towards all races on Earth. Simple as that. Since it doesn't look good on anyone to be racist. Simple as that. However, that does not mean that prejudice does not exist. But if you really are convinced that despite your credentials being outstanding and you are still turned away, then by all means seek out a union or legal advice. But then of course, you see, there are cases definitely where if 100 people or even 5 were applying for just one position, it's very much the likelier the case that still that there are people who simply wanted it more, and perhaps even more than you might think at first. Normally, if you went to complain about that, anyone would see you as someone throwing a tantrum because you didn't get what you wanted. When you throw into the mix an accusation of racism, then they will have to take you seriously, since those sorts of things ruin livelihoods as well as a business's reputation. Supposing somebody made an accusation against me, don't you think, that sounds unfair? In case you think it isn't, well, let's say if it happened to you, then I guess you would be having if it happened to me, if it happened to you, would be having like a lot more to say about it. Now, listen, supposing as well, this is taken to court and the company or business, as it may be, it found not guilty in any court in the world. Could you imagine what would happen to a person's chances of being employed then? Someone who makes false accusations of race? Exactly. Listen, these are the sorts of things you have to take into consideration, since Chris saying is simply not good enough. Since, for one, it's blaming an entire group of people for someone's shortcomings. This also implies that to Chris, especially to Chris, he seems to have this idea down that white people do not get turned away from jobs or who deal with hardships either. This is all speculation, perhaps, on my end, by the way, since Chris's lifeless, tone-deaf response being thrown into the mix, it makes it, considerably harder just to work out how genuine or sincere he is. If Chris understood perhaps the implications to what he is implying, or why he thinks this means he should get $1,000, is at best, you would say, not a very strong one. If he knew better, I suspect he might not have said this. It prevents people from, looking arrogant, ignorant, and naive if they thought before they spoke. Then again, according to Chris, why should I matter since from where he stands, simply because I'm white? I've been turned down from job applications before, ladies and gentlemen. Doesn't mean I stick my head in the sand or accuse the owners of being grand wizards for the KKK. Either way, please remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is the real world. Actions have consequences.
Brother's getting married in Michigan.
This is already a no.
Well, why not exactly? Weddings aren't cheap, and it sounds as good as any other.
You want the $1,000 to go to Michigan?
So I can
It should
be
have
at
been
the wedding.
like my child. I'm not gonna be able to buy corporate gifts. Like that would have been way better.
I want to be there for my brother and for his fiance and.
FaceTime in.
Hold on.
You could FaceTime him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't. With
Okay, that's all I have to say.
You should have.
Oh, come on, guys. I mean,
Don't be mean to her, right?
You can defend anybody else up there.
I know. Why did you defend me?
Defend nobody,
Y'all all
not
jumped on
nobody.
me. Y'all jumped on me like some hyenas.
They say don't be mean. Yeah, I'm literally not buying it either. This whole good person routine seems about as false as this smile to that remark. Yeah, exactly.
My only case that I can make is that, I work hard. I would use the money to, fix my car because I've had a busted windshield and a busted bumper for a while.
But it's still operable, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So
Totally.
you don't really-
I was gonna say nobody's booing him because they booed me when I said tires.
I'm about to say you can.
Oh boy. So the good person here going out of a way to pull someone down who in the 10 seconds he spoke, take it back, it really is just like 10 seconds. Joe is far more rational and far less cynical of this group. Well, we'll get to that in a second because there's somebody also incredibly very uncynical. Not very hard to do, mind you, considering this is the sort of company, but, there you go.
Need to catch the light rail.
How will you decide who goes off?
We should write something down, put it in a pot, and then maybe somebody else can read it. Like I'll read it.
I'm her. Her name is my name.
Your name is my name.
Is your name too?
Okay, you guys have 2 minutes.
Okay, let's go. The first person who is up for elimination tonight is
Ooh.
Holden.
Hold on. The least you can do is pronounce my name.
I'm sorry.
Joe.
Abby.
Joe.
Oh shit. Joe.
Dang.
Oh no, Joe. What the fuck? Why'd y'all do that?
Isla?
Isla. Damn.
Joe. Sorry, Joe. You gotta go.
Sorry, Joe.
Bye, Joe.
Well done, Joe.
I didn't have a wedding to go to or a car with tires.
It was nice meeting you, Joe.
There's where you'll sit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just like that, Joe is out. The one guy who didn't boast about his ego or made a big song and dance about being a good person. He simply wanted to do practical things with a very generous lump sum of money. Farewell, Joe. You were loved. Also, I liked your beard. You have my sympathies.
Cool.
I hate this.
I feel kind of
We're closer to the $1,000.
Also, you might want to take note of the "I hate this" remark. I bet that they would love it if they were out next. That's how superficial and fake these people are. Well, like I said before, not quite everyone.
Oh, do you think?
Abby, you should go next because using the money for a plane ticket, and I feel like you can save for that. And if you really wanted to go, you could take the bus. You can take the Greyhound.
Amtrak.
You could Amtrak.
You could drive.
You could drive, yes.
At this juncture, I'm so sorry, Abby, but I have to agree. I got to pay for plane tickets too.
Me too.
And I just
I just had to pay for one too, and I could barely.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
just
pay my
don't.
rent.
Okay, listen, alright, I'll tell you what. I'd buy Abby a ticket to get as far away from these people as possible. I mean, look at her, the poor thing. How can you put up with this level of egotism? By that logic, then shouldn't Hodan be eliminated as well? Who buys a car with no tires? Oh, wait, hang on. No, hang on. Sorry, good people buy cars with no tires. That's who does it. Now it begins to make sense.
We're about 4 minutes in, guys.
My priority is finding housing. Yours is getting some tires.
I need to pay for my house too.
You
I need
didn't
to buy
say
a house.
that.
I need to pay for my house.
Okay, you know what? I take that back. Thank you for pointing that out, Chris. Thank you so much, my friend.
I know I'm going next, so I just want to say something.
Why do you think that you're going next?
Because she could be going.
Because everybody stood up and said, Abby, I think you should go next.
There's only 2 people out of
Only 2 people, girl.
That's a third.
Now you gotta go because you don't believe in
Yeah,
yourself.
you don't believe in yourself.
So here,
Starting to suspect Chris might just have a prejudice issue towards white people at this point. He loves to make excuses, so points for consistency, I suppose?
here's what I think is interesting, though. I've heard that I'm white, so I can't understand issues, or
I never said that. I never said that.
I've heard white come out
She's
of
white
multiple
also.
people's names.
Okay.
It's my turn to talk. Let me talk. So I just think it's interesting that race coming from me towards any one of you would be ghastly and inappropriate, but race coming towards any one of you towards me is appropriate and...
Without wanting this to turn into another rant from before, you could probably see where this is going, where the snowballing begins to happen. Playing the race card like Exodia and trying to manipulate sympathy from it. I don't know about you guys, but listen, under these sort of circumstances is, to be honest, nothing short of pathetic. Good on for Abby for sticking up for herself, by the way.
Please don't put me in that because I never said anything about race, and I do
did.
not.
And I would say that it's appropriate because you have the privilege to be a white person in America.
Okay, wait, what? What? Okay, hang on. I need to collect myself for a second. You have the privilege to be a white person in America. So because 2 people decided to have a baby and it was born white, is that what you mean by being privileged? Is it? As though the color of your skin is a luxury? Is that what he means by that? Does Chris know what the word privilege means? Actually, before that, surely a good person would also step in and, set the record straight. All the time she has been here, Hodan doesn't really do anything good. The more I think about it, she doesn't do anything quote unquote good, apart from just state things that she's done. But from what she's done has not reflected what she's doing right now. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, privilege is defined as a special right, advantage, or immunity granted or available only to a particular person or group. So from Chris's point of view, being born white is an automatic advantage and simply not biology. As I stated before, mostly because Chris had to bring this up again, I'm not doubting that he has been the victim of racial prejudice before. Maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. I don't know, because obviously I don't know really much about the guy. That has been the victim of racial prejudice before, and interesting enough, his experiences have only gone as so far as not being accepted for a job, from what I've learned so far. Besides, I still would say that more mature people in these sort of situations would not be hiding behind excuses all the time. I mean, like these, because I have stated them before. If you did suspect this was clear-cut prejudice, then deal with it by, like I said, responding to, going to the authorities and taking them to court or whatever else you have to do. Or if this is not the case, then don't just give up. You try again and you learn from what went wrong. Do you think, I've been successful at every single thing I've tried? No, of course I hasn't. And you know what? I don't blame the color of my skin or the person in question for being different from me. That's just, it gets you nowhere. I know, why am I having to say this? This just seems like common sense. I need like some water or something. Just I need to like calm my nerves a bit. This video takes a lot out of you.
I'm Hispanic.
You should have spoke up when somebody called you white the first time.
Well,
somebody misguessed your race, like somebody misguessed your gender, you're going to speak up about it, correct?
Well, no, because I felt attacked in that situation, and I was hearing you saying you don't know what I'm talking about because of the color of your skin.
Yeah, but you see, then Chris goes on the attack anyway. Maybe Chris is just bitter. Maybe that's what his deal is. Maybe that's just like what this is all about. Bitter and stubborn and full of shit. Maybe that's just what Chris's deal is.
Stop! Oh, fuck. You guys are just
Why are you crying? Girl, you next.
I'm starting to feel bad for everyone. I'm at this point where I want to stick around in the match so I can be actively in the discussion, but I'm like starting to hear everyone's input, and I'm like, oh shoot, like maybe I don't deserve this, I'm like, fuck.
Were you forfeiting?
No, I'm not forfeiting.
Gotta admire that, Aliyah is at the very least being honest. I think that would have been too much for me to handle at this point, especially in the company of so many brazen people who just disregard charity of all things. Becoming a minority of one, even though she still wants to stick around. I mean, I can understand why, given her situation, but I think, dignity, I think, is more important. And Aliyah certainly has more of it than the 4+ members who are left on this. I hope Joe's, okay, I guess.
Okay, so everyone who thinks I should go home, please raise your hand. Okay, that's done. Now, anyone who thinks that Abby should go home, raise your hand.
Anybody thinks that Isla should go home, please raise your hand.
Oh, I didn't see that.
You said you didn't deserve it, girl. You gotta be full of yourself at all times.
Okay.
And now this just blatantly descends into bullying.
Do you have an exit speech?
Shit, I really hope they were telling the truth.
Girl, you should never say I don't deserve something.
Shit. She left it like a reality show, right?
Honestly, this is why
Are you still crying?
Shut the fuck up, alright? Please. She can do what she likes. Notice again how the good person doesn't step in and stop them from bullying this poor girl. I swear to God, I'm gonna destroy this whole new setup by the time I'm done. Or if she calls herself good again.
Jesus. You're the game over.
She literally said, I don't know if I deserve this. That's what she said. That's how she said it. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Honestly, I'm at that point where I'm starting to think whoever does get the money does not deserve it.
Actually, you know what? How funny would that be that, at the end of the stipulation was that, 7 strangers from behind a curtain somewhere watching the display were the ones to decide. And I don't particularly think they would have been very impressed by the good person gimmick. Because that's what it feels like right now. Just a gimmick. Smoke and mirrors.
Crazy is Abby was on the chopping block. She was like, I know I'm next. Oh, you do? Okay, then you're next. But then you got up there and you
started crying.
And you were like, I don't even know if I deserve this. Okay, well, never mind, Abby. You next.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had one thing that none of us do as a child.
It's a child. You could have played that baby cry. My baby ain't got no diapers. My baby ain't got no wipes. I'm out of breast milk.
That would have worked on me.
So you could have. She should have used what she had to get what she needed. It's a Players Club line. Ronnie Ho quote, you live by it, you get everything you want in life.
But you got to get what you want.
Say it again, Shakira.
Use what you got to get what you want.
Hey, Chris, is that how you're playing this game?
No, I don't got a baby.
You don't have a baby.
GM Okay, listen, look, sorry guys about that sort of like little delay there. It's just that for like about the last hour now, I've managed to run something roughly about like 3 miles, I think. I kind of like kept keeping track for a while. I may have what you might describe as an ITE, an internal testosterone engine. Forget dieting or, injecting your toes with half a gallon of Lucozade or whatever poison they put in that. All you need to do is have rage boiling inside you that it can only be exerted in blood, sweat, and tears. I enjoyed it though. Hard work pays off. Anyway, what were we talking about again?
Do you guys think the most sympathetic people are the most vulnerable in this game?
Yes, because they're gonna fall for a sob story.
I love that phrase, fall for it. As though terrible things that happen to people are not fully true. Makes you think, doesn't it? I freaking hate this video.
Sob story?
Yeah, sob story. If you needed the money for
Well,
yourself,
if we were gonna fall for it, she'd still be on this cap.
but she
fell
almost fell for it. And she fell for the one Abby gave. But the only thing that messed her up is I don't deserve this.
For someone who's unemployed, Chris doesn't really seem to look like a good employee in any profession, to be honest. With this kind of attitude, really? Playing the baby card by backside. Nor does he look, that badly off. He's dressed like he's ready to play golf, and he has a pretty nice looking Apple Watch on as well. Yeah, I'm surprised like people didn't call him out on this.
I was listening to you guys.
Well, I don't know how to explain it. You just have to have a heart of steel.
Okay, well, you know what then? How come you haven't played the race card at any of the jobs you've applied for? Oh, yeah. Oh, hang on. Yeah, that's right. I explained why. Okay, my bad.
Go for you, girl. I want you to
You guys, I want to remind you, the final round is when we get down to 3 people.
Yeah.
And all those 3 people have to decide on the same person. If you guys can't decide, nobody gets the money.
Cut will not be keeping that $1,000.
Trust me.
You guys ready for the next round?
Yeah.
Starting in 3, 2, 1.
You ready to vote?
Yep.
I'm ready to.
All right, how are we gonna do it this time?
Oh, you can vote now if you want.
How do you guys feel about games of chance?
No,
What do you mean?
I don't trust that.
Like
No, I
rock,
don't like
paper,
that.
scissors.
No.
I mean, fair enough. People be
God, rock, paper, scissors.
throwing it out there. I'm throwing it out there.
It's like you want to flip a coin? Like, no.
No, I don't believe in chance.
No way.
But do we want somebody with a heart of steel to go home with $1,000?
Yes.
If they have factual needs for it, then yes.
But Joe had needs. Elia too had needs. Strictly speaking, everyone has needs. I guess they just didn't fall for the fall for it approach, as they put it. That's what I'm calling them from now on. They. Not them, just they.
Of course, it's not about your heart.
Don't
it's
you have a
about what
heart of
need.
steel? Don't you need $1,000 for a plane ticket? You better get a heart of steel to get your plane ticket.
Like, I had a really hard financial time a couple months ago, and I gave so much plasma that I passed out on the bed.
Yeah, I have a scar too.
It's a minute ago, you didn't know how to get money to go on a plane.
If I have a plasma scar, doesn't that tell you I'm trying to do everything I possibly can?
I mean, are you?
So, because people don't harm themselves enough or work themselves to the bone, they still are not good enough? They're not good enough. Really? Is that what you're trying to tell me now? Okay, listen. First of all, Chris, your only response is that people will turn you down as a foregone conclusion, which you have, you would have never been tolerated. That is, if you actually sought out justice. Second, I cannot stand people who look down on others like this. I really, really don't. I have this idea that unsatisfied people, of this earth are only content with making those who are satisfied to not make themselves, comfortable. You can thank social media for that, because spreading this whole plague around the world, and for us listening to this as well, we are just as much to blame for, we created it, we are going to suffer for it as well. Good job for us. Listen, I've been there, done it, wrote the book on it. I even have the scars to prove that if the ones, the ones you can't see.
Yes. How about we walk up to the whiteboard and just write the person that we think should go? Everybody walk up to it and it's facing the camera, and then we'll turn around and show the people who has the most names on the board. Let's do that. Okay with that? I'll hold the board.
Shakira, throughout all of this carnage and drama, but BS, she's not been particularly very vocal in terms of letting anyone in on who exactly she is, in which I cannot tell if that is a smart move or since, nobody has drawn much attention to it. Because what was her excuse again? I don't really want to know. I don't really even care that much, to be honest.
Well, good luck to all of you.
Thank you. That was stress.
This is your last elimination round.
Oh, shit.
So here we are, the last elimination round, or as I look at it, wolves to the slaughter, since there are no real scapegoats for these four to target anymore. So now we will see the fangs come out. Or the fake, kitty cat sort of approach. I don't know. It's a long day.
How will you decide?
We don't know. How will we decide?
I want to believe people when they're like, because I can't just be like,
Cause you gotta go. No.
You're not facing. Nah, bruh. I'm just being real right now.
Bruh. Listen, the first thing you said is that you were a good person. Bruh. I failed to work out in all of this, through and through, all that you said and what you're going to say. Trust me, the video is not over yet. Yet, bruh. Now, that's a bruh moment.
What you tell me here is why I believe you.
We have 2 black women, a white woman, and a black man. We're kind of all on the same level right now.
Right.
Like, income-wise.
Making this about race. Boy, oh boy.
You don't need $1,000. I need it because you're a white woman, I'm a black man.
Listen. There are certain moments in life, ladies and gentlemen, where the best course of action is to say absolutely nothing, because why even need to at this point? Why? What's good is it going to serve? Though, since they're all willing to present, the case of who should get $1,000 and your best argument is because I'm a black man and you're a white woman, well, listen, let me just say this. Supposing that the white woman does get voted off, what happens next? What argument will Chris have left? I'm poorer, I'm a man, I love the LGBT community more than you two. He was already willing to tell him that, winning should be as a result of his skin color. Oh, and?
Well, we would not equal out, though.
But if you're making more than me, you just said.
Well, first of all, I'm making more than you because I have a job.
Exactly, so I need it more than you do.
You have a partner with an income and she doesn't.
But my partner's income is not just sitting on this couch. I'm sitting on this couch, so we're 2 different people.
When I was on welfare myself, it didn't mean that I made excuses. I looked for work and got on with it despite COVID-19. I just got on with it and found success. Yeah.
Discuss.
Why you wait till you got eliminated to start playing?
Love. Listen, it's a free country. That's why. Freedom of speech still exists for other people, not just yourself.
Right.
Guys, sometimes I can't talk louder than y'all.
You just gotta.
Shit.
I just need to know that if I hurt my knee and I'm out of commission, I can't be a bartender, I can't be a hairdresser, I can't do that, and I have fucking nothing. So,
You're a hairdresser? Hairdressers make a lot of money, girl.
No, but I
looking
can't
for
work
minimum
for 4
wage
days.
jobs.
No, I have jobs. I'm not looking for a job.
Then why don't you take it from 3 jobs to 1?
That's like saying, why don't you get a job?
I mean, I'm in the process of getting a job. I would never work 3 jobs.
Oh, now Chris is hang on, wait, no. Now Chris is changing his story. Oh, that's something interesting. Over the course of this discussion entirely, we've gone from being, unemployed to in the process of. Though again, Chris will probably make this excuse again. He might be saying he's going to be running for president for all we know, and people will expect to believe it. Then again, the excuse again about, this all being about race. If Chris gets turned down again anyway, his husband must have a lot to deal with if he's not as deluded as Chris. I highly doubt that. But you know what? I would love to know exactly how the story of, Chris and his husband, got together. Because it's not that I don't believe, true love, or, that, there really is something about Chris that perhaps I'm just not seeing. But, my youngest 3-year-old cousin has more sense, is what I'm trying to say next.
And be stressing myself out like that, because that's
I don't
me
have a
personally.
choice. I got nothing, and I'm doing the fucking best I can. And if I don't get a break, I genuinely don't know what's gonna happen to me.
That's everybody though.
You guys were talking about like having like guaranteed futures and careers and stuff, and I was just saying that like having a kid is like that's talk about a guaranteed thing in your future. Like that's a guaranteed future to me.
You had the child, you had sex to have the child, and now the child's here. So you have to pay for your child and be responsible for it.
You do realize that I myself have friends from school who are now parents, and they work like devils just to provide for their children. I think, for what they have to put up with, since they would very much appreciate the extra cash. You know what I'm saying? To make sure that the children are provided, loved, and cared for. You do understand that, right? What it means to, being spoiled, perhaps? I mean, listen, why should they not be entitled to get more? In the UK, we used to have what was known as child benefit that was issued to parents, but then thanks to the Tories all the way back in 2014, we no longer have that right, of which is a massive strain on young parents, old as well as, Oh, right, okay, listen, oh wait, hang on, I forgot. It's because some of these kids may be white. And as part of Chris's logic, since he is a black man, he, for not having a child, or as he puts it, responsibility, he should be entitled to the money. By the way, it's not the same thing as child support in the US. At least I don't think so anyway.
Arguably, that could be said about everyone's situation.
I mean, it could be.
I didn't ask to get hurt and not be able to work.
I'd ask to get laid off.
No one does. Yeah, that's the thing, I think, is what we're all saying. Well, I think we're really listening. I think we're just kind of talking, so.
Actually, I think it's very fair, unless this is going to be about race again.
I just want to warn you guys, you have about 3 minutes. I think you should come to a vote.
So I just want to say to the next person to go, it's not personal. It's really not. Hold on. Ooh, hold on. Pat! That's me. Ooh, it's a tie.
This good person act isn't really washing now, is it? For the people who even believed it in the first place. Maybe that's why they voted for Hodan, the more I think about it. Because, Joe and Elia, they saw perfectly fine.
I think they should do a tiebreaker amongst themselves, like sudden death.
Like, how about they decide?
Sure.
That is not fair.
We gotta figure something out.
We can take some input. I don't think that they should be able to vote, but I think that they should be able to give input.
Okay, let's
because
do
they're objective.
I don't think that's gonna be fair, because every single one of them before they got out voted for me. So what are they gonna say?
Are you sure?
Yeah.
How do you possibly know that?
I saw you write my name down wrong. You voted because you wrote the thing wrong, and you just look like you hate me. So maybe.
Just out of interest, does being insecure count as being good? Or is that delusional or desperate? You know what? My vision is very blurry, Hodan. Can I please see yours instead? I want to know what your perspective really is. Or rather, what your intentions really are by saving the planet. Miss Captainess Planet.
That about me.
Can you give us a second? Can we pause?
I'm sorry. Can we really pause? I really don't need you to antagonize me. Why don't you just be quiet?
No, freedom of speech. I'll talk, and so should my boy Joe here. Joe doesn't need to stop at all. You know what? Standing up to bullies is brave and admirable, because that's really who Hodan really is. She's just a bully. There you are. I said it.
I have been.
Okay, then keep going back to that.
She's in charge, everybody.
See, that's uncalled for, unnecessary. But
really, like I shouldn't have responded back to that.
I mean, nobody's over here talking to you. You're right now. You're just wasting our time.
All right, that's enough.
You're right. That's true. I shouldn't waste the time.
At this point, honestly, I'm completely impartial. I wouldn't be happy or sad if any of them won at this point. I feel nothing for these people anymore, apart from Joe and Elia.
I'm going to take off $200 from the pot.
No.
And we're going to kick off one person randomly.
You voted for me and she voted for her, so why don't you guys talk
Why
about
would you say that? You don't know who voted for who.
I voted for Kat.
Yeah. I didn't. What? Why would you say that?
I thought it was your handwriting.
No,
You don't even know what my handwriting looks like. You've never seen it before.
Chris said that he voted for Kat, then Hodan had to vote for Kat too because Hodan wouldn't vote for herself.
That's true. Okay, so I think that instead of the two of us talking it out, I think you two should talk it out because we have vested interests.
Why would I talk it out? My name not in there.
All right, so raise your hand if you vote for Kat.
Whatever.
All right, is that final?
Guess so.
Everybody's taking
I feel like
everything
this
too
strategically
personally.
done.
This was strategically done.
Fuck y'all, get a job.
I will. Do some hair more.
So this is the final round. You have to unanimously decide who's the one person who leaves with $1,000, or no one's going home with money.
Okay, so.
Nobody's getting that fucking money.
No, one of us will get that money.
You know what? After seeing this, I'll be having reservations about whether or not I want to be ever seen as good, literally ever again. It doesn't seem worth it.
Should we walk to the back and do it? Let's go. Let's go.
Everybody on the sidelines, who do you think deserves it out of those three?
None of them.
Yeah, can I
just
recuse myself?
Recuse.
Mum's the word.
I've already said my story. That's just it.
I have no money. My partner, granted, my husband does make money, but that is money to pay for our little bills. I'm not down your story.
I'm just saying that my income that I do have, I feel like is equivalent to you having that man in your life.
So when's the last time you paid your rent?
You mean you only just found that out? Also, for someone who has continuously been playing the race card, Chris sure loves to stick it into other people's business about rent, etc.
No, I paid my rent this month.
I haven't paid rent this month.
This is the thing, you can get a job. Because of my condition, I can't. That's the thing I feel like.
They're just gonna split it.
Yeah, for sure, no doubt.
I don't trust this. This is not a pure competition at all.
No, this is a massacre.
I'm just gonna weigh in. Feel free to feel how you feel. I already decided that I was gonna vote for you. I want you to take the money. And it's not because I hate you, because we're all black. I love all of us. But
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. So it is all about race all this time. That more or less confirms it from the beginning. All I'm going to say is that I don't think good people do something like that. I think many people consider it to be very shady.
I feel like I can find a way to help you, with the jobs thing, because I'm also looking for a job. I'm leaving my organization.
Hey guys, you have 11 minutes. Sorry to interrupt.
Thanks for the time check.
I don't like the guy. I don't like him.
Girl, you're throwing some serious shade eyes right now.
No, those are just my eyes.
I don't really have anything else to say. It's been a mental anguish on me. It's been rough, it's been hard, and I just don't know what's gonna happen after it.
So what if that doesn't happen, then you just won $1,000? All I can say is I'll be homeless, so.
We can't leave this money on the table, so it's rock, paper, scissors.
I'm not put rock, paper, scissors for that. That's ridiculous.
Okay, well then we're leaving this money.
I'm voting for myself. And
yeah, but it has to be 3 of us.
Are you still voting for Shakira?
Yeah.
Okay, come on.
What were you guys talking about?
Deliberating amongst ourselves.
Did you guys make a final decision?
Yeah.
What did you guys decide?
We decided on Shakira.
Yeah, we picked Shakira because they had already decided prior, and instead of just leaving the money on the table, might as well give it to somebody that could use it. I just hope you're not lying.
I'm not. No, I'm really not. I'm not.
I already knew that I'm okay without this $1,000. It'd be nice to have, but it's not shaking my world up right now.
And she's in a worse predicament than us.
And I would rather that money go towards.
Thank you guys.
Shakira.
All right.
Chris.
This has been an awful experience. This has been nothing but sadness and arguing and conflict and hurt feelings and shittiness.
I'm curious as to whether or not Hodan or Chris went up to any of the others and shook their hands or even said anything. Usually it's good to do something like that or to show that there are no hard feelings, but I suppose not. Or be seen with white people because they will instantly get into work just because they are white, parring, Chris's logic. I wonder who taught him that, or whether or not he learned anything from this. You know, not because, you know, they may be feeling just a little bit bitter as to, you know, what they feel about them.
I just don't think it's fair that the rest, like, everybody had to be all up here, and then when it came down to like the actual money decision, we weren't privy to any of the discussion and we couldn't hear anything. So that was just, I just wish I could hear. I was just curious what was going on, and I thought that it, you know, I would have liked to know what we could have said.
I'm happy with the decision because I am in a dire need for it.
Yeah, like, no shit. You know, you're happy you just won $1,000 for practically nothing.
I am very thankful for the decision that they made and, you know, how everything played out. And now I'm excited. I'm happy.
She's happy, then I would want to see what she looks like when she's sad. I think, like, the deafness speaks volumes. Oh dear.
All right. Good job.
Are we doing like, are we having a reunion show too?
Yeah, I'm sick that day.
And there you go. Jesus Christ. Well, that was that. A clear-cut case of people boiling over for money in the most toxic and heartless ways you could imagine. Apart from, you know, Joe and Aliyah, now, you may or may not be surprised to learn that due to the deafening backlash of this video, Cut, in their infinite wisdom, or maybe because they knew there would be trouble, decided it would be in everybody's interest to disable the comments for this video. And with a like to dislike ratio such as this, the comments would descend to more chaos than the comments from a news source on Sky News, because you could probably work it out for yourselves. If you're like me, you probably have a pretty good idea of what you've just witnessed as well. You know, interestingly, XQC and PewDiePie have both made videos on this already entitled "This Video Was a Disaster" and "The Most Annoying Video on the Internet." Both men being ironically called Felix is kind of cute in hindsight, but there is one element that I found to feature that they both missed out. The format. 7 strangers competing for money sounds like a game show format 101, if ever I've ever seen it. Then Cut have turned it into a very Jeremy Kyle show format. Spin by turning this into subjects about the rights and wrongs in society, and how people will use sly and underhanded tactics to get their way in life. Or they will use it into cutting cases of discrimination as opposed to, you know, anything worthwhile. Again, apart from, you know, Joe and Aliyah, like, Joe, because he wasn't bragging about anything, he just wanted to do something practical. That seems perfectly fine and justified. His attitude conveyed complete and utter honesty, not through BS or being a, like I said, good person. Yet, here is the important detail. How much are you guys willing to bet that he was chosen specifically for this reason? Normally what happens is that if you apply for a game show online, they will ask you at some point, what are you willing to spend the money on if you win in the application? This helps people in television to determine whether or not you are interesting enough to be put on television, or to be presented as interesting or whatever on TV. So, even just supposing that Joe was asked to be on, since I can guarantee more than just 7 people applied to be on this show, did the producers or whoever was behind the operation decide specifically to pick certain people over because, you know, they knew this would generate some sort of outcome, or was that purely coincidental? Call me a conspiracy theorist, but I think this was intentional, since anyone with any sense of cohesion or self-respect, which is plainly non-existent in this video, would not say even a quarter of the stuff that they have been saying. Speaking of what people have been saying, and let's face it, there were a lot of choice words being thrown around with little regard for consequence or anything conscientious. How much of this video went through editing to pick very specific moments to, you know, cherry to make these people look as bad as possible? Okay, now listen. Perhaps there were parts cut out that could have been these guys justifying these explanations or even apologizing for what has been said and done. This includes Elia admitting to bailing her own parents out and raising her daughter at 19. And yet, because according to Shakira and Chris, because she didn't guilt trip everyone else, she shouldn't have even seen one penny. That alone sounds worse and worse every time you mention it, because it was so awful that they decided to include it in the video. The final cut, so to speak. Then again, if they, mainly Shakira, didn't want to be seen as horrible, she would have not said something like that. I hope she's enjoying her money, because was it, like, really worth it? Really? Chris was, let's face it, awful. I've been back and forth with the faults in his logic and how dangerous his attitude is by boiling everything down to race, thinking that it makes him look big and morally on Mount Everest. He couldn't be more wrong about this, however. Then again, please bear in mind exactly when Chris is cut off by the editing. Whether or not the editors had decided that they had all the need to generate controversy to make Chris look like the bad guy for being so petty, delusional, a discriminator, or just overall very unsavory. I'll leave that for you guys to decide. To bring this point back up again, let's bring it back to this, since I want to discuss the huge problems at hand with Hodan. Chris and Shakira proudly admitting that they only voted for the others because they were white, and then Hodan gleefully boasts from smiling from ear to ear, showing how perfect her teeth are. A shame they were in the mouth of someone who is so utterly garbage. This is what you might describe as reverse racism. Or they will use it into cutting cases of discrimination as opposed to, anything worthwhile. Again, apart from, Joe and Elia. Joe, because he wasn't bragging about anything, he just wanted to do something practical. That seems perfectly fine and justified. His attitude conveyed complete and utter honesty, not through BS or being a, like I said, good person. Yet, here is the important detail. How much are you guys willing to bet that he was chosen specifically for this reason? Normally what happens is that if you apply for a game show online, they will ask you at some point, what are you willing to spend the money on if you win in the application? This helps people in television to determine whether or not you are interesting enough to be put on television or to be presented as interesting or whatever on TV. So even just supposing that Joe was asked to be on, since I can guarantee more than just 7 people applied to be on this show, did the producers or whoever was behind the operation decide specifically to pick certain people over because they knew this would generate some sort of outcome? Or was that purely coincidental? Call me a conspiracy theorist, but I think this was intentional, since anyone with any sense of cohesion or self-respect, which is plainly non-existent in this video, would not say even a quarter of the stuff that they have been saying. Speaking of what people have been saying, and let's face it, there were a lot of choice words being thrown around with little regard for consequence or anything conscientious. How much of this video went through editing to pick very specific moments to, cherry pick to make these people look as bad as possible? Okay, now listen. Perhaps there were parts cut out that could have been these guys justifying these explanations or even apologizing for what has been said and done. This includes Elia admitting to bailing her own parents out and raising her daughter at 19. And yet, because according to Shakira and Chris, because she didn't guilt trip everyone else, she shouldn't have even seen one penny. That alone sounds worse and worse every time you mention it, because it was so awful that they decided to include it in the video. The final cut, so to speak. Then again, if they, mainly Shakira, didn't want to be seen as horrible, she would have not said something like that. I hope she's enjoying her money, because was it, really worth it? Really? Chris was, let's face it, awful. I've been back and forth with the faults in his logic and how dangerous his attitude is by boiling everything down to race, thinking that it makes him look big and morally on Mount Everest. He couldn't be more wrong about this, however. Then again, please bear in mind exactly when Chris is cut off by the editing. Whether or not the editors had decided that they had all the need to generate controversy to make Chris look like the bad guy for being so petty, delusional, a discriminator, or just overall very unsavory. I'll leave that for you guys to decide. To bring this point back up again, let's bring it back to this. Since I want to discuss the huge problems at hand with Hodan, Chris and Shakira proudly admitting that they only voted for the others because they were white, and then Hodan gleefully boasts from smiling from ear to ear, showing how perfect her teeth are. A shame they were in the mouth of someone who is so utterly garbage. This is what you might describe as reverse racism. Even if, again, you don't believe Hodan is a reverse racist, what is certain, however, is that she definitely has some issues with narcissism. Though, ironically, her authority forces people to not stand up for themselves, and her power results in causing Aliyah to cry. You see, it was later revealed that Aliyah, I apologize, started crying after she got kicked out. She put faith in people that ended up bullying her for her humility. She put others before herself and got mercilessly exploited for that. I'll come back to that exploitation thing later, but what exactly did the rest of the group, barring Joe, did after Aliyah was voted out? I'm just going to say this now because I can tell this will not age well like one bit, but I've got to have my say on this. Chris, Hodan, and Shakira, and I'd say Kat possibly as well. Those four right there, they are what you might describe as psychopaths, and they are a minority too. Any good person would have left to make sure that Aliyah was okay. I'm just putting it out there. Let's talk about exploitation for a second. Filming Aliyah crying is one thing for being humiliated by the rest of the group, but so is the camera sticking their noses into the final three, having their conversation, which was meant to be in private, possibly because they didn't want those on the bench to hear them and the cameras as well. So as much as it pains me to say this, it is an invasion of privacy, since, like I've said before, that kind of attitude is going to give people the wrong idea. Absolutely. They may have known this was going to go out online anyway, though again, was this just on the editor's part to include this part in just to create drama by deliberately antagonizing already unsavory people? Regardless of what I think in Chris throwing shades at Shakira for paying rent or Hodan only voting to keep Shakira and Chris, this far is so none of the others would win regardless, since the only way we could have gotten this information is through this invasion of privacy, you see. Once you've sort of like put that part out there, you've sort of become realizing that it's all just a show for cut. This is just a circus for this channel, so they can generate drama for views purely for the gratification of the video whores on the other side of the screen who stare at the screens with their fat pink faces, just so that their views continuously can go up and up and up and up again. Likes and dislikes actually play a very minimal factor in all of this, since people who can click on these things is still a very small majority of the audience, who we cannot hear anyway since they disabled the comment section. Cut probably knew, or the marks at the very top of the ladder must know that long before the video went out, the backlash would be deafening. I can guarantee you that. That was in no way of anyone's mind, but instead, they saw controversy generates or sparks interest. In many ways, that is true. But you know what the problem is? Well, first off, let's just discuss what the definition of controversy is first. A discussion marked especially by the expression of opposing views. To anyone who has rather seen this video, I should say, will immediately say that anything brought up that is even slightly close to not even challenged, since the authorities of these people is to attack, attack, and attack. And nobody stepping up for Aliyah, mind you, or even Joe, for not being a show-off. It's one-sided and barely challenged. Meanwhile, they say whatever they want, bringing a poor girl to tears. How fucking brave is that, really? Think about it. The closest they get to any repercussions is that the producers threaten to shorten the prize money. You see how quick and that everyone is to react to then. Again, not that this is in any way of any concern for Cut, since they are not a television studio. They do not have to sign the contestants anything in regards to, you know, a duty of care. End of part 22. Please make sure to cut this part out for the final cut. A duty of care is a obligation which is imposed on an individual requiring adherence to a standard of a reasonable care while performing any acts that could foreseeably harm them, you know, physically or mentally. It is the first element that should be established to proceed with an action in negligence. Since Cut, as far as I'm aware of, has nothing of this kind anywhere, that must surely mean that if anyone does happen to any one of these people in the future, they Cut will not be held in any contention, at least as far as I'm aware of, which almost guarantees immunity from legal disputes or whatever happens. They might get like a stern notice from YouTube saying don't do that or something like that. For those who remember exactly how the Jeremy Kyle show ended, and I'm not going to go over everything since I'm drawing this out enough already, but really screw this. The Jeremy Kyle show had existed for nearly 15 years up to that point, back in 2019, through systematically applauding and the exploitation of the working and the underclasses of British society. Regardless of the rights or wrongs, you do not broadcast family confrontations over television. And I'm not saying Jezza himself is the worst man in history, as his producers were held in court over the death of Mr. Diamond. That resulted in the show being cancelled effective immediately. But over the years, you could tell from his very first show, for those who do remember it, to his very last, that Jezza's ego continued to grow and become more aggressive in relying for people to applaud him and his every whim, for things to become more vile or comedic to draw out as much drama from the ratings as possible, since the show was made substantially on the cheap. And owing to the last 10 years of austerity, a fresh supply of contenders for the reality TV game show, the more I think about it, where there are no winners and everyone loses. End of part 23. Please make sure to cut this from the final cut. If I ever get to a point in the future of, you know, making a full video about the Jeremy Kyle show in the future, then I will, since that show is exploitation turned up to 11. I also actually kind of did like a video of it about it myself. It's may not be of the greatest quality in the world, but it's a start in my opinion. Getting back on track, I will simply end it by saying this much. If you like Cut, then perhaps this video will not exactly change your mind that much, but that not everything is as it seems. We watch television. But what if television watched us instead? Eye on the TV, 'cause true tragedy thrills me. Whatever flavor it happens to be like, killed by the husband, drowned by the ocean, shot by his own son. She used a poison in his tea, then kissed him goodbye. That's my kind of story. It's no fun till someone dies. Don't look at me like I am a monster, thrown out your one face, but with the other, stare like a junkie into the TV, stare like a zombie while the mother holds her child, watches him die, hands to the sky crying, why oh why? 'Cause I need to watch things die from a distance. Vicariously I live while the whole world dies. You won't change your mind, so don't lie. End of part 24. Why don't we just admit it? Would Cut Live, if it didn't entertain us, this level of spiteful, wicked people? The universe is hostile, so impersonal, devour to survive, so it is, so it's always been. Also, there was a GoFundMe page for Aliyah, and it raised more than just 1,000. Some of the money went to charity, which is what Joe wanted as well. It's a good reminder that sometimes it's better to say nothing as her maturity speaks volumes, also to the people who put this page together. Notice again how the good person was not the one who made the GoFundMe page, though I think it's fair to say that we all expected her not to, because in her own words, Black in America, shit sucks. AKA, feel sorry for because I won't do anything about it myself because I am a good person. End of part 25. I mean, again, if you want to talk about charity for a second, when I bought the Daily Dose shirt, it was like the day after the dude announced it in one of his videos. You should be aware that the proceeds all go to a homeless charity in, I believe, South California, I believe. And it teaches homeless people to, rebuild their lives. Something like that. And I was more than happy to, take part, knowing that the proceeds were going to a very, very humane and a very worthy cause. Okay, so it's like been roughly 30 minutes now, possibly even longer than that, so I'm just gonna end it with this. A montage of comments from YouTubers who watched this video on XQC and PewDiePie's video, whilst some peaceful music plays in the background. All of these in response to Cut's videos. I'm gonna go downstairs and whiskey my problems away. I don't even drink, but I feel like I need one. Goodbye, my friends. Don't be complete sacks of shit. And you know what? Stop blaming everyone else for your troubles. And you know what? Things might be on the up. I don't pretend to admit that things at present are not great for a lot of people, but that does not mean we start relying on, picking fights with each other for no other reason than just because we may as well, or start being vindictive and very, very manipulative towards other people. Goodbye, my friends. I will see all of you guys again in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye for now.
Everyone who's now black leaves as a form of reparations.
Oh, wow! Woo! Let's try to get through this. Daniel, I gotta get Daniel Benningfield. I gotta get through this. I gotta get through this. I gotta get through this.
Give me your 30-second pitch why you deserve $1,000.
Cry a little bit. Oh, you are especially vocal.
What do you got?
I spend every single day trying to save the world. I work on issues of climate change. I'm a good person, and I need new tires.
But tires is not good. It's not ecological. If you have a car, you're burning gas.
Teach a man to make $1,000 and you feed him for life.
So then why do you need the money?
So here's what I think is interesting, though. I've heard that I'm white, so I can't understand issues, or
I never said that. I never said that.
I've heard white come out
She's
of
white
multiple
also.
people's names.
Okay.
It's my turn to talk. Let me talk.
Yes. God damn. I'm such a good person. Climate change. Let me interrupt you while you're talking.
So I just think it's interesting that race coming from me towards any one of you would be ghastly and inappropriate, but race coming towards any one of you towards me is appropriate and...
Please don't put me in that, because I never said anything about race. And
I
do
did.
not...
And I would say that it's appropriate because you have the privilege to be a white person in America.
Why did you just make that assumption, one? And two, why did you just dismiss her experience and then marginalize her, oddly enough? Like, yeah, she's white passing. Cool, great. But the fact that you centered around this whole discussion, like, You know what? Take it away. Go ahead.
So
Go ahead. Because I can't do this.
Let me break it down.
I can't do it.
No, I'm gonna do it.
I can't.
I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna need you to do it.
I'm gonna do it. If you were in a group, all right, there was a couple of my white friends, and it was Abba and me. I gotta admit, out of all my white friends and my black friends, I am probably the most privileged. I went through some fucked up shit, but both my parents are still together. While I was living with them, I never lived in an apartment block. My parents own buildings and stuff like that. Like, I'm probably the most privileged out of that group. I'm black, mind you. All the things that my parents have, they didn't have it because of their hard work and everything and stuff. I understand that. But me coming from that, I'm the most privileged. As a matter of fact, we got a group. We're about 7 motherfuckers in that group. Abba, me, the rest of the people. In that group, I'm probably the most privileged. With the most privilege growing up. You put any one of my white friends, they were poor. We used to go to the same school, so whenever I was chilling at their houses, I had to go to the projects where they lived. White folks, Afghani, Latinos. I was probably the most privileged one. I'm not a rich kid, but because they were so unprivileged, I was known as the rich kid. So to assume, it's like a misunderstanding of what white privilege is. White privilege is saying that all the burdens that you have are not because of your skin color. But it doesn't mean that you cannot be poor. It doesn't mean that you cannot not have bills, not be discriminated. It doesn't mean none of that. It just means that all the burdens you had, it didn't happen because of the skin tone that you have.
You want to hear irony? The black man was dismissed because he was told he was black. Yeah. And now he's dismissing other people because they're white.
Yeah.
And he thinks that makes things right.
Yeah, because he was dismissed, so he can dismiss. Yeah, that does not solve the issue.
I'm going to just say this. I think I get why people have some of this rhetoric, but also understand, like, the most important division between us as people is not race, but it's class. I have more in common with a poor Hispanic or a poor white dude from my neighborhood than I do with a rich black person who grew up in a suburb area. That's just how it is.
You gotta go. You don't
believe in yourself.
So here's what I think is interesting, though.
Man, these are trashy ass people.
I qualify for it because I'm black.
I don't see how anyone could say that. That's not legal.
Because you're white.
I'm sorry, I'm a person of color. Nobody would say that outright because they would have a lawsuit on their hands. It's just your speculation and opinion at best. So again, we're seeing a little bit of the victim card being played because it seems like anyone who says just because I'm black, I didn't get the job probably has a little bit of that victim mentality.
I don't see how anyone could say that. That's not legal.
Because you're white.
Yeah, it happens. It happens way too often.
And let me just clarify, it does happen. It does happen often, and it's by people who won't tell you it's because you're black. They'll just give you some other bullshit answer that has nothing to do with anything and say we're not going this way or we're not going with you. And then it becomes speculation. It becomes impossible to say you did this because of my color. And I know for a fact that it does happen. And you know what the thing is? Quick tangent. I work in entertainment, I guess. And I've always believed that an audience doesn't see your color. As long as you're good at what you do, they'll love it. The only people that ever did care was the executives and these Hollywood producers who wanted certain people of a certain color to represent others. And my theory has and always will be the same. It doesn't matter what color you are. At the end of the day, if you can make that person green, that is the only color they're gonna see. So they will hire you if you're worth what you wanted cut. You wanted this when you said 1,000 to 1 and you got 3 of the most heinous people together in a room. And also, just to the people of color, you guys are so fucking embarrassing. I just want to say that right now. We're much bigger than this as people. You guys ever hear about the crab bucket syndrome? It's when a crab tries to get out of the bucket and another crab pulls that one back down. So it's when someone pulls you down to their level instead of tries to elevate up so other people aspire to reach their level. This is what is happening in this video. Hoda, Shakira, and Goldilocks are 3 of the worst people that I've seen, and then I'm telling you right now, they're not gonna get that far in life with that mentality. That's not even a knock on them. That's just the truth. With that mentality, how far can you really go in life? I feel so sorry for these two.
You could have played that baby card. My baby ain't got no diapers. My baby ain't got no wipes. I'm at a breast milk.
That would have worked on me.
So you could have.
It's what you got to get what you want.
Say it again, Shakira.
Use what you got to get what you want.
Oh, yes, because I'm sure that's where you wanted to end up in life, in maybe your mid to late 20s on a cut video, fighting over $1,000 that you don't seem to have because you don't have a job for the last 7 months. Use what you have to get what you want.
You don't need $1,000. I need it because you're a white woman. I'm a black man.
Oh, we're not equal out though.
But if you're making more than me, you just said.
Well, first of all, I'm making more than you because I have a job.
Exactly. So I need it more than you do.
You have a partner with an income and she doesn't.
That's but my partner's income
not
is
sitting on
not
this
just sitting
couch.
on this couch. I'm sitting on this couch. So we're two different people.
Discuss.
But listen.
Why you wait till you got eliminated to start playing?
Listen, the black people they are teaming up to take every white person out. Like, they have already decided we're gonna win this shit. And like what he said, oh, you get more money than me, to the white girl. I feel like that's wrong. That's wrong. You don't know because you don't have a job. That's the thing. You know what? They're mad. That's it.
Guys, sometimes I can't talk louder than y'all. You just gotta. Shit. I just need to know that if I hurt my knee and I'm out of commission, I can't be a bartender, I can't be a hairdresser, like I can't do that, and I have fucking nothing. So
You're
like,
a hairdresser? Hairdressers make a lot of money, girl.
No, but I can't work for 4 days. No, I have jobs. I'm not looking for a job.
Then why don't you take it from 3 jobs to 1?
That's like saying, why don't you get a job?
I mean, I'm in the process of getting a job. I would never work 3 jobs and be stressing myself out like that. Because
I
that's
don't
me
have a choice.
personally.
I got nothing. And I'm doing the fucking best I can. And if I don't get a break, I genuinely don't know what's going to happen to me.
That's everybody, though.
You guys were talking about like having like guaranteed futures and careers and stuff, and I was just saying that like having a kid is like that's talk about a guaranteed thing in your future. Like
Yeah.
that's a guaranteed future to me.
You had the child, you had sex to have the child, and now the child's here. So you have to pay for your child and be responsible for it.
Arguably, that could be said about everyone's situation.
Yeah.
I mean, it could
No.
be.
I didn't
but
have to get hurt and not be able to work.
I'd have to get laid off.
No one does. Yeah, that's the thing. I think is what we're all saying.
Yeah, but listen here. Oh my God, they're making me mad. Listen. You have a freaking man that can provide for you. She have to provide to the child. You can get a job. You didn't to this black guy. You could get a job, but you haven't got a job yet. She have to be a mom. She have to have she didn't want to leave this child. You are with a man, I think. Yeah, you are with a man. So you should know the pain. I don't even know how to explain this, but I feel like he should go out. I don't like him. I don't like him right now. He's too freaking mean.
I don't think we're really listening. I think we're just kind of talking. So
I just want to warn you guys, you have about 3 minutes. I think you should come to a vote.
I just want to say to the next person to go, it's not personal. It's really not.
So everyone else was personal.
That's me. Ooh, it's a tie.
I think they should do a tiebreaker amongst her.
We gotta figure something out.
We can take some input. I don't think that they should be able to vote, but I think that they should be able to
Do
give
you wanna-
input
okay, let's do
because
input.
they're objective.
I don't think that's gonna be fair because every single one of them before they got out voted for me. So what are they gonna say?
Are you sure?
Yeah.
How do you possibly know that?
I saw you write my name down wrong. You voted because you wrote the thing wrong, and you just look like you hate me. So maybe.
Yeah.
Can you give us a second? Can we pause?
I'm
for a
sorry.
second?
Can we really pause? I really don't need you to antagonize me. Why don't you just be quiet?
I have been.
Okay, then keep going back to this.
Wait.
She's in charge, everybody.
See, that's uncalled for, unnecessary.
No. What she did was uncalled for and unnecessary. Why did she attack him like that? He was really quiet. He didn't say anything. Oh my God, I feel like these people right here, this black girl right here, she was like, I'm a nice person. What a nice person are you? You attack a person like this, you can already see that that white guy is not a white guy that really talks when someone is attacking him. But he stood up for himself, and I really like that. And you, this black guy, he like to talk a lot of shit. You are a barking dog. Stop talking. You barking too much.
I don't know. I think she just did. That was clever of her, to say the least. But hold on. If everybody else did the same thing,
Then there would be 4. No,
there's.
I don't feel like we should break it down this way.
I know who needs to go because you said to charity, so.
Number one.
I think you gotta go. Like, I'm sorry.
I mean, I was kidding.
Okay, were you?
Yo, but you wouldn't have said donate to charities if you were really kidding, if you were really broke.
Right?
Give me your pitch. Give me your
I feel like they're being mean. Weirdly, I feel like they're already being meaner than the teenagers were.
I think it's funny.
I don't know.
They're not being.
I don't know.
They're not being that mean.
I feel like it was kind of mean.
Let me talk. So I just think it's interesting that race coming from me towards any one of you would be ghastly and inappropriate, but race coming towards any one of you towards me is appropriate and...
Please don't put me in that, because I never said anything about race. And
I
do
did.
not...
And I would say that it's appropriate because you have the privilege to be a white person in America.
I'm Hispanic.
You should have spoke up when somebody called you white the first time.
Well,
somebody misguessed your race, like somebody misguessed your gender, you're going to speak up about it, correct?
Well, no, because I felt attacked in that situation, and I was
So?
hearing you saying you don't know what I'm talking about because of the color of your skin.
Stop! You guys are just
Why are you crying? Girl, you next.
She feels bad.
Yeah, she's uncomfortable.
I'm at this
I know you're saying you're enjoying it because it's
I'm
more
not enjoying
blunt,
her reaction.
but
No, she's truly like not
because
happy.
people,
They're
when
being
they're
mean.
blunt, being blunt is often not. It's not abiding by social norms and niceties. So it's being mean in a lot of situations. And people are going to take it, when there's this much money on the line, they're going to take it personally.
point where I want to stick around in the match so I can be actively in the discussion, but I'm like starting to hear everyone's input, and I'm like, oh shoot, like maybe I don't deserve this, you know? I'm like, fuck.
Were you forfeiting?
No, I'm not forfeiting.
I kind of want her to get it because she has a kid, and we have a kid, so I'm sympathetic.
And
And,
she's in
arbitrarily, I'm rooting for her from now on, and she hasn't been mean to anybody.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, everyone who thinks I should go home, please raise your hand. Okay, that's done. Now,
She's my second favorite.
that Abby should go home, raise your hand.
Anybody thinks that Isla should go home, please raise your hand.
I didn't see that.
You said you didn't deserve it, girl.
Yeah.
But she does deserve it.
All time.
It's okay.
Do you have an exit speech?
Shit, I really hope they were telling the truth.
Girl, you should never say I don't deserve something.
She was graceful too.
She left with like a reality show, right?
She left like Marilyn Monroe. Dude, she's full on crying.
I don't blame her. That was a horrific experience for her. I feel bad.
You said you liked it 5 seconds ago.
there's some people who can who are like
Fun to be mean to,
Fun
because
to
they'll
be
be
mean
mean
to,
back, and
yeah.
you know it's a game.
Yeah. And there's other people who it just like you're like, oh, I feel like a terrible person now.
It's the kind of the same way when you play sports with some people. It's like there's some people you'll talk trash to,
or board games,
and you'll like, or video games, whatever your reference point is.
They had already decided prior, and instead of just leaving the money on the table, might as well give it to somebody that could use it.
He looks so unhappy.
I just hope you're not lying.
I'm not. No, I'm really not. I'm not.
I already knew that I'm okay without this $1,000. It'd be nice to have, but it's not shaking my world up right now.
And she's in worse predicament than
I respect that.
us.
He looks so bitter.
Thank you guys.
He's like,
All right.
I respect that he did it though.
I
have
respect
to
that he
say,
did it too.
I respect that he wasn't spiteful at the end.
And just said, well, if I'm not getting any, screw you guys. Yeah, I respect that too.
Because I might have done that. But I feel like she didn't antagonize people as much.
I would say she was the third most antagonistic.
Yeah.
Interestingly, this is another thing. I'd say the 3 most antagonistic people were the 3 at the bench at the end of it.
Yeah.
So this might be another thing to just say, hey, if there's something that you want, maybe it is worth it to just go for it unapologetically, because those are the people who made it to the end in this.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
This has been an awful experience. This has been nothing but sadness and arguing and conflict and hurt feelings and shittiness.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's fair that the rest, like everybody had to be all up here, and then when it came down to like the actual money decision, we weren't privy to any of the discussion, and we couldn't hear anything.
Well, I mean, that was the
just,
game.
I just wish I could hear. I was just curious what was going on, and I thought that it. You know,
Oh,
I would
yeah,
like
that
to
makes
know
sense.
What?
At least you can go back and watch it.
That's true. They were mic'd up, so hey, there's a video. It'll be beautiful. And it won't be. It'll make you relive all of these
Yeah, maybe just
awful
skip to
moments.
the end.
Yeah.
Said.
I am happy with the decision because I am in a dire need for it. I am very thankful for the decision that they made and, you know, how everything played out. And
I got it.
I'm excited. I'm happy.
You did.
But I didn't get how she got it.
All right.
I don't know. She feels good about it though. At the end, though. She doesn't. She's like, thanks, but I feel.
Everybody's miserable, right?
Yeah.
This is like the saddest, happiest face I've ever seen. I wonder if you asked the cut crew, because I'm sure they've had a lot of very uncomfortable moments in this
They
studio.
may have cut some of them out.
I wonder what they would say.